Hello, and thank you for watching today. We have a ton of over-the-counter news to cover. I know people really think that we're in the off season, but those are the people that are just going to miss out on deals this time of year. November is a great time to buy over-the-counter, especially. We'll cover a lot of reasons, but we found some new ways for you to buy. We found some great new inventories and some updates on some inventories you already know and love. We even have a new way to buy in Alabama for you today. So we're going to cover all of that. We're going to go over some misconceptions about over-the-counter investing at the beginning of this. It's important to have that base of knowledge if you're going to take this seriously and really want to actually invest and do it responsibly. I know we do that in a lot of our videos, but we're going to cover it anyways. I'm not going to take for granted that this might be your first time listening to the channel. So we'll cover it, and to spice things up a little bit, I'm actually going to throw in a few examples of what I'm talking about in real time. So that way, if this is not your first time watching over-the-counter news, you'll have a little something different this time. But let's get to those misconceptions, and we'll go through these because I really just need you to understand what you're doing if you're buying over the counter. So let's cover misconceptions first. A lot of you that watch, let's just say TikTok, we'll put it out there. Some of those shorts, reels, all those things, Instagram, you'll see people that bought a property for whatever they did, and a lot of times we have to talk you through like what really goes into this because you get like the 7-second version and it's just not as simple as the TikTokers make you think it is. So let's really dig in here and talk about some of the misconceptions. Ready? So one of the misconceptions is that all tax auction leftovers become available for purchase over the counter. I get this question a lot when people say, "Where are your over the counter properties in Indiana?" Great example. Indiana is a fantastic market to invest in, but not over the counter because there are none. So a lot of these markets with maybe large auction inventories, they don't have a mechanism for selling over the counter. They do something else with their leftovers. A lot of them sell their leftovers just in a later auction. So in Indiana, you're just going to roll to the next series of auctions and have another chance to buy the property later. New Jersey is another great example of that. You're not going to get over the counters in New Jersey, even though it's a big market for tax liens. Some of the states actually sell their leftovers through land banks eventually, but I wouldn't just, skip the auction and wait for the land bank because you're waiting years in some cases. I think in Alabama, it's between 3 to 5 years before a property can get in the land bank. So there's just, it's kind of silly to skip the auction and say, I'm going to buy over the counter in some of these states where it takes years for the property to get over the counter because, hey, the property's going to rot in the meantime. You might as well buy it at auction. Georgia and Tennessee are good examples of states that manage leftovers through land banks. Tennessee really just does it through Shelby County Land Bank. There's only one. Georgia's got several land banks. Okay, so let's move on to the next misconception. We've kind of nailed that one. So the second misconception here is that only junk properties are going to be in your leftovers from auctions and become over the counter. So like the thinking here is if somebody didn't buy it at auction, then it's probably not worth buying. Let's prove that wrong right here. Many large auctions just don't have enough bidders to buy everything. Okay, think about an auction with 1,000 properties and 50 bidders. You may have leftovers just because everybody runs out of money. Like literally, people can just run out of money at the auction. Hey, if it's an in-person auction and runs multiple days, maybe people can't miss 3 days of work to make it to day three. So by day three, there's not many people bidding. So maybe that's why there's leftovers. Another reason is that these are government groups, either county, city, state, somebody, some organization or land bank that's like trying to sell property. It's not really what they're good at. So their auction advertisements they can be obscure, cryptic, just not well publicized, not really on social media. So you're not going to find them. And in those cases, the properties become leftover just because investors didn't grasp what was for sale for whatever reason it may be. Confusing, non-existent, not online, written on a napkin somewhere and couldn't be found. So there are reasons why properties become over the counter other than just them being junk. And I did want to illustrate this for you today. This is Parcel Fair. We're looking at the over the counter inventory tracker. This is a report you can look at on the site. It's available in the tools menu. I've opened up Arkansas, and in October we had 1,470 new properties show up as available. And so when you're looking at this, there's real value in some of these leftover properties. And I guess really the point here, I'm just going to show you one. Let's see. I'm just going to drop it right here. So this is the first one I saw. This is a vacant property, and basically, what you see is, let's open the panorama view on our site. It's going to be that house in the trees there. So let's move down the street. It's this house, okay? So that house went to auction. It was not bought at auction, and the opening bid was just $7,700. Well, the county valued it at 105. So would you have bought this property for $7,700? All it would have taken was one bidder, but nobody bid on it. So here we are. It's in the leftover bin now. And that, again, that's just one of tens of thousands of examples I could show you. But I just wanted to bring up one and make sure that you saw what I'm talking about when I say uh, a property doesn't just go to the leftovers because it's junk. Sometimes good properties go to the leftovers. So, another misconception: purchasing tax property over the counter is easier than buying at auction. Well, every process is different, so you can find some OTC processes where you literally buy online. Frankly, they're probably going to be picked over because they make it so easy. But some of these OTC processes, they can be complicated and require time and effort and applications of numerous pages to finish, especially a land bank. You may have to fill out a book. So it's not always the easiest way to buy. It's certainly worth it to learn the difficult ones because a lot of times there's no competition if it's difficult. But the next misconception: purchasing tax property over the counter is faster than buying at auction. Well, like I just said, some of them can take weeks or longer. So, not true. There's plenty that take longer than if you bought at auction. And cheaper. Some people think buying OTC is cheaper. Well, since properties that are left over from an auction, they just continue to accrue taxes that are unpaid, plus interest, plus fees, and it could be years in the rolling. Like great examples in Alabama, we'll have properties from like 1988 still on the rolls. They've been accruing taxes and interest longer than a lot of you have been alive. They're going to be expensive. They would have been cheap at the auction, but they're expensive now. So OTC is not always cheaper either. Yeah, the longer it's been delinquent, the more expensive it gets. So now let's cover some general guidance for finding deals. If you're looking at a new tax investing market, maybe you're just new to tax investing in general, here's some general guidance for you. When you're learning a new market, do not presume anything. Do not think, hey, I've invested in Maryland. I'm going to go invest in Colorado because they're both sell tax liens. Don't do that. You need to learn every state that you're going to shop in. Every state is going to be different. The competition can vary. Sometimes you find a state with great laws, but the competition makes it prohibitive to shop there. You never know until you actually learn it. And by the way, sometimes the best deals, they're not where you would expect. Okay? It pays to educate yourself, invest in your skills, invest in what you're learning. We try to help you with that, but you need to be a self-learner here. But yeah, my example here is never presume that buying over the counter is cheapest, fastest, or preferred way to buy because, hey, sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. You need to learn that and fit it to your strategy. Okay, so instead of that, well, why don't you focus on learning how the state works? Keep an open mind about the best way to buy. You may find out that the auctions are terrible in one state, but there's a way to buy later. Maybe you buy from the owner. There's so many ways to do this. I would suggest instead of looking at a market as, hey, do they have OTC deeds? Nope, I'm out. Don't do that. Why don't you look at the state and say, how do I buy real estate here at discount? It should change your mindset. And instead of trying to look for one way to buy, you're looking for the best way to buy. That's probably the best summary I can give you for what I'm trying to tell you. So let's move on. Let's talk about how many tax auction properties are left over and available over the counter. So we're going to use 2024 as our like whatever measurement here. And so in 2024, which pretty soon we'll have the full numbers on 2025 and be able to do this for a more recent year, but there are 1.166, almost 1.2 million auction properties listed for tax auction that we tracked, okay? Some of those were unsold and moved into the OTCs. So over the counter, we saw 155,711 added to the OTC ranks. Okay, so 13% is our estimate on what goes to OTC. Okay, that subtracts out the states that don't have OTC. It subtracts out the properties that sold at auction or the properties that redeemed, and you really get down to just 13%. So again, learn OTC. It's a great way to go. But if you only learn OTC, you're only learning 13% of the tax investing market. So you're not really learning tax investing holistically. You're just learning a piece of it. So let's move right along. Where are these over-the-counter properties? This is getting to the good stuff finally. So thank you for sitting through the preamble here. But I'm going to cover the top 17 markets for OTC availability. You'll notice the bottom two, West Virginia and DC, have gone to zero this month. We're going to cover that, but I'll give you the spoiler right now. West Virginia, if you guys watched this video last month or two, we've been pumping it, trying to tell you there are 10,000 OTC properties in West Virginia. It's a great deal. You should go bid on them. Well, that deal ended on October 31st at the end of business, and now they're processing your orders for the month of October. So congratulations if you listened to this channel and found those properties, because we showed you the only way to get through those 10,000 properties without losing your mind. You were not going to click one property at a time on the state website and figure it out. You needed a tool like ours to get through it. So I already talked to some of you that put in bids. I am so anxious to hear how things turn out for you. But West Virginia is now officially dormant until January 1st. Their OTCs will reissue on January 1st. We're as curious as you are to see what's going to be in there. But once the dust settles, rest assured those parcels will be on our site, and you'll be able to go at it again for the month of January. They close again January 31st, so don't snooze on it. All right, in DC, last month they had 420 OTCs. They pulled them about a week ago, and they're hosting a special auction on December 3rd. We'll talk about that in a few minutes, but the point is, these opportunities are still there. They're just, sometimes limited in different ways like that. So let's take it from the top here. Arizona, of course, the biggest one, 34% of our OTCs are Arizona. Alabama's 20%. Florida, this time of year is 15%. In the summertime, they're going to fluctuate. Sometimes they might even eclipse Arizona. They have so many. Another thing about Florida, they track at a lot of those are OTC liens, and they track at the lien level, and we track at the parcel or property level. So if one parcel has 7 liens, this chart counts at one time. Okay. So technically, Florida actually has more liens available than Arizona, but those liens are on fewer properties. I'm telling you, some of these counties like Putnam, Florida, will find a property with 15 liens, so or more. This pie chart is meant to illustrate how many properties are available in OTC. Once you dig in, you might find a lot more liens all on the same properties. So anyways, little sidebar there. Mississippi, those OTC tax deeds, they make up 7%. Moving down to Pennsylvania, Missouri, Arkansas, you get into kind of diminishing returns there. We stopped slicing the pie below Maryland. I think Wisconsin would have been next, but it's too small to show here. It says little slivers of pie there. So if that gives you an idea of the distribution, that's kind of the point. So let's move on. Now, the best part of the video, the live demo. We're going to talk about how do you research over-the-counter properties, find them, buy them, all that good stuff. So back to Parcel Fair. We're going to start off on our dashboard. If you are a Parcel Fair subscriber, this is when you log in. This is we put this screen in front of you quite a bit. If you're actively using the site, these top panels of favorites and lists and stuff, they'll start to light up with some numbers like mine does. If you're shopping auctions, the next 2 panels here, deeds on the left, liens on the right. You can see the top upcoming auctions by state, whether they're online. But since this is the over-the-counter video, let's look at the bottom of the dashboard where we have a bunch of OTC markets just sorted by volume, sheer volume of parcels. In the left side is the deed and land bank markets. The top 2 are going to be Jefferson, Birmingham, Jefferson, Bessemer, both in Alabama. And then we have a pretty big drop down to Missouri, Kansas City, then Shelby, Tennessee, which is Memphis, and so forth. So if you want to just go by volume, the tax deed markets, this is a great page to go to. Any one of these, you can go view the list or the map, and you'll get the full just report of everything that you can buy there. Right-hand table, same story, but liens. Over-the-counter tax liens, top 3 counties are going to be Arizona, then followed by Florida, Arizona again. Down the list, eventually you get to some other states like Maryland, and really a lot of that's just Florida and Arizona, to be honest here. So, I think with West Virginia pulling out for the year, that really took a lot of the entries out of that table on the right. So yeah, the dashboard is a great place to start. What we're going to do in this video is I'm going to take a market at a time, and we're going to kind of just piece through some news, some exciting things happening. We're going to start with Alabama. Okay, so let me preface this. Yes, Alabama is out of season for auctions, and they have a ton of OTCs. And if we're just like surfing through Alabama, let's go to Jefferson, Birmingham. I happen to know there's a few there. 10,000 OTCs. Here we can slice it down by improvements, get it down to 2,000 to say 2,000 of those properties actually have a house on them. We can go owner location and find like out of state owners, really narrow it down to 375 properties where that owner is likely not to redeem because they don't live in the same state as the property. So, you can slice and dice here, but what I want to show you today is a new inventory called Quit Claim It. So Quit Claim It, if you use the inventory filter, this is one way to find it. If you click on resellers only, Quit Claim It is a reseller. They will show up in your results, right in the feed, right there with the other properties. If you want to just see what's in Quit Claim It only, you can click on that. And let's clear our filters out. I actually want to go back and show you everything. So yeah, we'll go Quit Claim It that way. So 36 properties in this county alone, okay? Here we are just kind of scattered on the map. Our little markers can show us if you want to do helicopter mode and see what's available at Quit Claim It. Another way to do this, kind of exciting piece of this, is that it's not just Alabama. Quit Claim It's in 2 states, Alabama, Mississippi, and hopefully more in the future. If you didn't follow what I just did there, I clicked on my search filters, and you may have never seen this tab. It's called Quick Searches. This is a little time saver for you. You can view your lists on the map and things like that, some special inventory searches, your direct offers. But Quit Claim It is underneath these special inventory searches. Let's select it and click on Go. We're looking at 68 parcels, and this actually bridges across 2 states. It's very rare in Parcel Fair do we bridge across states unless you build your own list. But in this case, we do. So you're going to see some properties over there in Jackson, Mississippi. You're going to see some properties over here in Alabama, quite a few different locations. And I went ahead and just pre-selected a couple of these just to kind of go through. The first one's in Talladega County, Alabama. And let's talk about the opportunity here. Okay, so in Alabama, if you're buying over the counter, a lot of the frustration is the biggest inventory is the Department of Revenue, the state Alabama Department of Revenue. That inventory is huge. When we started this site, it was 40,000 properties. Now it's just under 20,000. So I think we've helped them liquidate a little bit there. But the problem is not the supply of property. The problem is the time it takes to get a response. And I explain this probably 10 times a week. And that's okay. I don't mind explaining it. Every person that applies for a property with the Department of Revenue in Alabama gets a due diligence window. They say 10 days, but if you count the day you get it and the day it expires, it's more like 12 days. So a 12-day due diligence period, and it's exclusive, which means if I have a price quote in a 12-day due diligence period, guess who can't buy that property? You. Nobody can buy that property but me. So it's frustrating as a investor because if there's 10 people that have requested the property you want and you're number 11, you're waiting a minimum of 120 days. That's 12 days times 10 people, plus some buffer for them to actually produce the quote in the middle. So you could be looking at almost half a year sometimes. You could be looking at longer if it's a very, very popular property that you're trying to apply to. So what we've done with Parcel Fair, if you watch this channel, we have the 5 ways to buy in Alabama, other videos that talk about different ways to buy. We put in front of you as much as we can. So again, if we're looking at Jefferson Birmingham, Quit Claim It is one of the resellers. Parcel Fair Direct Offers is another one where you can buy from other Parcel Fair users that have a quote that they're not going to buy. You can use the Birmingham Land Bank if you're in Birmingham. You can buy through them. Anderson Realty Group, fantastic reseller. That's on our site as well. You can filter by them. And then, of course, Aldor, that's the Alabama Department of Revenue. That's the inventory that is the slow one. So if you're trying to balance out your approach and build like a portfolio in Alabama, go ahead and apply to the Department of Revenue, Aldor, no problem. But while you're waiting for those quotes to come back, check out the direct offers, check out Anderson Realty Group, check out Quit Claim It, maybe even the land bank, because you could be building your portfolio waiting on those quotes to show up later if you're trying to build like a rental portfolio or if you want some quick flips. So again, let's go back to this one property in Talladega County. It's just south of Birmingham. It's a suburb. And basically what I want to show you here is the total value by the county is $46,000. The ARV that we calculate using local comps, the county is kind of an up and coming, I would say, area. It's near Lay Lake, a nice area. ARV is listed at 132. Okay, so we can go click on this button and view the comps if you doubt that number. But my point here is, let's say 132 is wrong. Okay, we've got all these comps that support it, all this data to back it up. There's some new construction here, so maybe these comps are inflated. Okay, let's pretend that the comps are inflated at 132. Even at that, Quit Claim It is asking $17,000 for it. Okay, so if I click on this, okay, that was my purchase option. I'm trying to slow down for you here. The purchase option on every report on our site is going to give you how to buy. Plain and simple, we want to make sure you know how to buy. There's a little bit of instructions here I'll cover in a minute, but I'm going to click on the green button that says Buy Now, quitclaimit.com. So this is that property we just looked at, okay? This is a more current photo than Parcel Fair because Parcel Fair uses the Google car to go check these out. Quitclaimit has actually got boots on the ground on these houses and they own them, okay? They're going to give you a quitclaim deed on these things and they're selling you this house at 17.3, okay? So remember, county said 46, ARV 132. Even if the ARV is wrong, 17,000 is a great deal. There's a great description here. You're gonna, this one is described as keep more capital for your renovation. Uh, it's just a wonderful reseller to work with here. And what you're gonna do is, it's 945 square feet. You can actually finance through quitclaimit. I want to make sure and throw that in there too. If you're trying to finance your actual purchase, and I'm not talking about the rehab. I know we have help for financing rehabs on the site right now. That's actually on the Parcel Fair report. Hey, investment property funding free consultation right there. Okay. So, yes, you can get funding for that. But sometimes the initial investment is what you're looking for. Quitclaimit will actually work the financing with you on the sale. Okay. So I'm just let that sink in for a second. The financing is available at your fingertips with quitclaimit. All right. So, that's not even the best part. I'm just kind of giving you some good stuff here. If you want to buy, what you're going to do is click this window that says, Are you interested? Talk to an expert. You're going to get started there, and they're going to be with you right away to talk you through. The reason they do it this way is because they're going to work with you on the financing. If you don't want the financing, they've got a discount for cash. Okay? So this probably, this $17,000, we're going to get it for cheaper than that if you're going with cash. If you're financing and need the money, do that route. But we're going to work the price one more time. We're going to get it even cheaper than that. And I'll tell you how. Remember, on the Parcel Fair report, the purchase option section, if you click on the big blue button, okay? It's like a vending machine. You're pushing the Coke or the Pepsi, okay? The big blue buy now at quitclaimit.com. We give you the promo codes right there off the top to get 10% off because you're a Parcel Fair customer, and then get another promo code for cash if you're a cash customer. And we mentioned the financing here and tell you how to do the talk to the expert thing. So if you're a Parcel Fair customer, you're showing up with potentially a cash discount, potentially financing if you'd prefer to go that route, and another 10% off just because you came through Parcel Fair. So if you're looking for another way to buy in Alabama, I can't stress enough that you should consider quitclaimit right there with our other resellers as another way to buy. One more thing before we go. If you're on quitclaimit, I'm just going to use their site for now, and you can, of course, browse their site if you want to see these photos direct. Not a problem. Some of these prices are going to be higher, and I hope you understand why. Some of these are in really good condition. That one has snow on the ground. I don't know how that happened in Alabama, but hey, they caught it on the right day, I guess. So, uh, some of these, I'll even use the word I never use in tax investing. Some of these they're turnkey. Some of these are turnkey rentals. And as you look through these, you're going to get a variety of prices, a variety of properties. Another snowy picture there. Wow, they really did hit the snow day. So you need this tool in your tool belt. This is another way to buy in Alabama. If you're building a portfolio, obviously this one's boarded up. Hey, you know what? That's not turnkey. Some of these are. So, anyways, Alabama and Mississippi, you've got a great new option on our site using quitclaimit. You can go through the quick searches to find them here. You can also do it through the inventory filter here. If you're just surfing through Mississippi and Alabama, you might stumble upon these properties in your regular everyday search too. So we've got several ways you're going to find them. And actually, I'll show you one more property before we move on. Okay, Jefferson Bessemer, which is basically part of Birmingham, Alabama. This one, the amount due is 13.8. Okay, so let's just talk through the deal like the other one. County valued at 87. Our ARV says 81. Okay, even if those are, actually, the county value is usually a pretty strong indicator there's some value there. But hey, let's pretend it's worth 50. You're getting it for 13. Not only that, you're getting 10% off of Parcel Fair and potentially a cash discount or financing. Either way you go, it's you can make this work. you can really make this work to build your portfolio quickly. Uh, Again, you can buy while you're waiting on the Department of Revenue to eventually email you a quote. This is a way to start building up that portfolio, build that empire in Birmingham. If you want to get rental properties, if you want to flip, this is a great way to go. So I'm going to stop on Quick Claim It for now. Alabama, I know this is the reason I spent so much time on it is because the majority of our users show up because they want to invest in Alabama. And we've given you a lot of ways to go about this, okay? Department of Revenue, Anderson Realty Group, the Land Bank, Parcel Fair Direct Offers, Quick Claim It. And here's the funny thing is we're not even in auction season. When we hit auction season, basically we start tracking auctions in January for Alabama, but January to June, you're going to see loads of properties here. So Alabama is always a hot state. There's a lot going on, and you just have another option here now. And I think it's a fantastic one. I'm very grateful that they gave us that promo code for you. So I hope you'll use it. And again, I think you're in great hands with Quick Claimant, adding them to your tool belt. Okay, so let's move on to another state. Let's go with Florida. We typically this time of year don't talk about Florida, but a couple things have happened in the last week. So first of all, Highlands County, uh, this is something Florida does. They take liens away, then they bring them back. So Highlands took their liens, over-the-counter liens away, and they just brought them back yesterday. So if you're shopping in Highlands County, there are about 3,300, I believe, were added. Several other counties had some additions too. We won't go through them, but um, so yeah, Florida, that Highlands County is probably the highlight because it just released yesterday. There's a good chance that you're going to find something there. I will say I looked through it. It's not the most compelling inventory. Just this time of year, it's just something worth mentioning because so many were added 3,300. Hey, you know what? We'll throw them on the map for you. So yeah, so I'm on the map. I'm going to clear my filters, and we're going to Highlands County. So the H is H there. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, 3,500 properties. So some of these are going to be auctions. So actually, let's just click on it and surf on down to Florida here. So yeah, the green ones are going to be over-the-counter liens. The orange ones are going to be active auctions. If you're really splitting hairs here, you could filter this further if you want to go for improvements. It's probably going to take it. Yeah, okay, that took it way down. 2 properties with improvements that are over the counter here, and they don't look very improved from the helicopter. So that was my point, was to show you that this inventory is a bit picked over because, frankly, these properties released last summer, and again, Florida took them away just to bring them back. So yeah. Do with it what you will. If you're buying liens in Florida for interest rate, hey, maybe this is great for you. But if you're buying, high value ones, there's not a ton of high value here. Okay, Washington D.C. Let's do this one on the map because I've got a story behind it. A lot of you were shopping there recently, and 420 parcels that were left over. They have fantastic terms on their liens. If I top of my head, I didn't put this in my script, but I believe they're 6-month redemption with a generous interest rate. I wish I had written that down. But this is how you're not buying this little ditch wedge between these two houses. But some of them are junk. I give you that. But some of these, if you're in DC, they have value because they're in DC. So yeah, dodge the ditches and look for the ones that actually have some value. So in fact, let's go over here. Let's go to 50,000 minimum value. Okay, that got us down to 61. Let's just find a good one property to check out. All right, so this is a small acreage wedge of property here between these or next to these buildings. It might have been a former building on the end of that row there. But the point here is they took them off OTC to put them in an auction. And I know this is not the auction video, but so we'll not do too much here. But this is called the Washington, D.C. Discount Tax Sale. And it is in person on December 3rd if you want to visit that. This is basically how you're going to buy these leftovers for now. I anticipate in the spring they'll put these leftovers back on the OTC roll where you can just buy on the site. But for now, this is how you buy. So we're showing you. If you want to buy in DC, you're going to need to go to that auction until they re-release their OTCs later. All right, back to the inventory report. Let's go to Mississippi. All right, so I did this out of order. I meant to do Arkansas. Let's do Arkansas first. Okay, so at the beginning of the video, we talked about Arkansas because in the summer months, they have their auctions. And 30 days after each auction, the leftovers make it to the site. Something I heard, and I don't doubt this is true, but I heard that there's a lot of competition at Arkansas auctions. Again, I don't doubt that it's true. But to say you couldn't buy anything, that's a little harder to believe because, again, some auctions might have truly sold out. But there's enough leftovers. We had 1,470 added in the month of October. And if you sort by that total value here, they have value. Some of these are over 100 grand, over 50 grand. By county valuation alone, those have value. Now, we click on it, I've got the exact same properties earlier. So yeah, I mean, what you're seeing here is $7,700 is a leftover. And in Arkansas, the OTC purchase process is funny. You used to be able to just buy it outright for the price. Now you have to actually go place it. And basically, you go to their website and place your bid. And within 30 days, the bid closes. And if you win, you win. If you don't, you don't. I recommend not watching it for 30 days. My recommendation is place your bid and don't look until the 30th day to decide if it's still a good deal or not. And then maybe get into a bidding war if you want to. But this is how Arkansas sells their leftovers. It's little single property auctions on their website. 1,399 added in September, 1,470 added in October. So this is definitely, we saw a big influx the last 2 months. It's a good time to be purchasing. Okay, so now we'll get to Mississippi. All right, so in November we've had 19 removed. Let's back up to October. If I click on the green bar right here in the chart on the right side, new parcels 705 in October. These are the parcels added in October. And again, it's kind of that same thought exercise of if they're over the counter, could they have value? Well, yeah, they can. These over the counter liens turned into deeds on the state's tax roll. And now they've offered the deed, not the lien, they've offered the deed to you over the counter. Okay. The best one on the list right here, 168,000. The next one, 116,000. I pre-selected an example. I could probably click any of these, but I'm just going to give you the one because I wanted to look at this one. You can probably see why. Mississippi does not publish an amount due, so sometimes we're able to get a guesstimate from their listing. In this case, we were not, so you're going to have to apply for a quote to the state. What I wanted to show you, though, is the value here is $71,000 by the county valuation. The ARV is $243,000 based on comps, okay? Again, even if we're half wrong, if this house is worth $121,500, and we're half wrong on the comp, I'm sorry, on the ARV with comps, the data suggests strongly that this house is worth more than that. But if you could buy this from the over-the-counter rolls for a lot cheaper than that, it's a good deal. Click on the purchase option right here, the big fat green vending machine button. Here's your steps to go to the Mississippi form and fill it out. The Mississippi website can be daunting. We can't take you to the actual property because they don't really have a link-in structure. But these steps on screen right now will take you step by step to show you how to find and apply to the property. And here's the good news for you. If you're the kind of person that digs in, this is good news for you. A lot of our customers bounce off of this and never apply, okay? Because it's complicated. So if you will dig in and learn this process and just follow the 4 steps on our screen, these properties are in your reach, okay? Again, I can tell you from looking at the picture, from the comps, from everything here, this property is worth inquiring about. And once you get a quote, you have a little bit of a window of time. I think it's 2 weeks in Mississippi to go view the house. Hey, don't send a scout yet. Go apply for it first. Once you have a quote in hand, then you send your scout or take your own self over there if you want to scout it yourself. Make sure the house is standing and that it's not burned down to the ground and decide if you want to buy it. But this is a literal quote. It's like an option to buy from the state of Mississippi. You just buy it. There's no bidding like Arkansas. You just buy it. And by the way, Mississippi responds a lot faster than Alabama does. So 705 properties added in October. I mean, it's pretty consistent. We had 114 the month before, 188 before. A lot of green bars in this chart here. The history shows throughout the year they add these properties pretty steadily. I don't think it's necessarily seasonal, but because every month has something added, it seems like. We don't see anything new in November yet as of today, but that could change by tomorrow. So Mississippi is one to pay attention to right now with 700 properties added last month. I think you should give it some attention if you're open to investing there. Let's go on to Colorado. Not my favorite tax lien market, not my favorite market in general, just because of their laws when you buy a tax lien. If you watched my Colorado video a few weeks ago, you would know that that lien does not have a path to ownership. That lien is a investment vehicle for interest rate only, and it's speculative at best because it's not the best interest rate, and you have no control over the redemption if they redeem the next day, the next year, or 2 or 3 years down the road. So, but if you are a Colorado investor and that doesn't bother you, Pueblo just added about 120 something to the list. So they are here on the newly added report, 124 to be exact. So that was in addition to other properties already in the Pueblo list. So Pueblo, Colorado has had some action. Their auction season is going on right now. So I would anticipate every day we're going to check, and some of these OTC inventories in Colorado will have periodic releases of leftover properties, but the auctions have to complete first. So we're not quite through that yet. Let's see. If you want to know about Colorado, we do have a recent video all about it. All right, we're going to speed up a little bit because we're getting into the states that had less going on. Maricopa added 11 properties. That's in Arizona. Maybe one of the best counties to buy in. This one catches my eye. It's a total value of 1.6 million. I did not script this part, so yeah, it's there on the map. Oh, and by the way, this is actually a tax deed that was added, not a tax lien. So you would have a path to fast ownership if you do this way. Click on the green button, follow the steps to go buy, and we'll connect you with the treasurer to buy that property. But yeah, there's lots of liens there. And by the way, that $1.6 million lien, I'm sorry, property, the lien is 118 grand. So just keep that in mind. You're okay. I just said it wrong again. This is a deed. I'm so used to calling Arizona liens, I forget because there's just not many deeds. But this is a big deal to see this many deeds added. So yeah, you should go check those out if you're buying in Arizona, of course. Missouri is next on our list. We're not going to spend much time here, but we had a few small additions there. It looks like 9 properties added in Jackson, which is part of Kansas City. In fact, these are in the land bank for Kansas City, it looks like. So a little bit of action in Missouri. Let's check out Maryland very briefly. 3 parcels in Baltimore City just added. And these have value. I mean, you're looking at one, the top one has a building on it. So definitely something to check out if you're a Maryland investor. New York had a few OTC land bank additions, 2 in Albany, 1 in Syracuse. And Pennsylvania, I think we had nothing added. Yeah, quiet month in Pennsylvania. They're in the middle of some other auctions and clearing out. Tennessee had some additions in October. Nothing like we did in August where they added a bunch. But 82 properties added in Tennessee, all in Shelby County, which is the Memphis area. If I was just getting started in tax investing, this is one of the markets I would consider building a team in just because of the sheer year-over-year supply of new property that is rental friendly, rehab friendly. A lot of structures here. So if you're just starting on tax investing in point blank, nothing going yet, this is probably one of the top 10 markets I would say is Shelby, Tennessee, the Memphis area. Again, because of the supply and the rental potential. But obviously, if you can build a team there, that's kind of your biggest hurdle. You don't want to just buy and not have a team. I think in a city like Memphis, you want to have some local insights, some local contractors, and some people managing the property to keep an eye on it, because it's not the safest city. Okay, this is the next 3 going to go really fast. Louisiana, Oklahoma, Wisconsin, nothing new. So we'll leave those for you. And of course, we mentioned West Virginia at the beginning. They're in hiatus right now, kind of like DC. West Virginia, they'll be back online in January, so watch for that video where we'll show you the much-awaited release of their next batch of over-the-counter properties. Okay, so we got through it all. I hope this is really useful for you. I know from the YouTube stats, this is our typically our most popular video each month, so I appreciate that from you guys. Please subscribe on the channel if you want to get notifications for these. Don't miss our little connect menu here. People go to the tools menu when they're subscribing to Parcel Fair, but there's so much more than just these tools that give you an entry point into finding properties and buying. In the connect menu here, the YouTube community, of course, is a big one. You're watching us right now on YouTube. The Facebook group is one people don't know about. Join Parcel Fair, then join our Facebook group. There's 1,600 people in there that are investing just like you. In fact, a lot of them are going to be way smarter than me. They're going to be in there experts in markets that I've never touched. And you can ask questions like, what's the best attorney for tax properties in Texas? Or who's a good rehab crew in Baltimore? and people will actually respond. Okay, great resource. We have some very smart people in there. And then lastly, the online meetups link at the bottom here. We've been doing more of these. We had 3 this year. We're going to try to do even more next year, online meetups, hopefully a lot more. These are where we were able to dig in with some experts and really get some meaty topics covered. These videos are an hour each. There's 3 of them now. And let me just click on it and show you. The last one in October focused on Alabama. Before that, we had Gov Deals, Jesse and Shannon from Gov Deals and Bid for Assets on the site, or I'm sorry, on the meetup. We talked about reselling property using their site. It's a great video that will help you understand how to. This is just a wonderful exit strategy is selling your tax properties at auctions. That's something a lot of people never thought of. And then back in January, we had Jason Porter to kick off the year, gave us a generous hour of his time as well. And we covered a lot of due diligence. And he even gives us the steps to do your own title search. It's around the 45-minute mark if you don't want to watch the whole video. But I'm telling you, Jason dropped some great expertise in that video. It's a good, solid chunk of an hour. These are not on our YouTube channel. These are for members only, just for the subscribers on our site, because these are the really deep expert level topics where you're really going to dig in and take this stuff seriously. So, I give you a lot on YouTube. We go through a lot of stuff, but for these topics, I really want you to dig in and get on our site for those. So yeah, the Connect menu is a great way to get the most out of your Parcel Fair subscription. Of course, there's some great tools here too. So again, subscribe to our channel. Please like the video so we can have a signal that you want more of this kind of video, and absolutely reach out to us with questions. The best way to do that, we'll do a good job responding to most YouTube comments we try, but if it's a real conversation, hit this contact button here, and that goes straight to our team. It's about the fastest way to get in touch with us. If I'm not available, somebody's available all the time. We'll get back to you, and we will. Sometimes people are surprised that we'll actually call them if it's a really deep topic, and we just say it's easier to call. But that's why we have the phone number here, and we'll get the dialogue going. We're here to help as much as we can. We are not a tax coaching business, an investment coaching firm at all. We don't, we're not qualified for that. But I'll tell you anything that we know as far as how to find, how to research, how to organize your properties. That's what we excel at. And, we'll connect you with some coaches if that's what you're looking for, but that's not really us. So all that to say, reach out if you have questions. Hope you enjoyed the video and have a great night.